Hi, Louise.
Hi, Bob.
Thanks again for meeting up with me and helping me with this. And today we're going to do a little bit different. This is called the Goal Formulation Protocol, or the Miracle Question, developed by a couple of brilliant people in the United States several years ago. And it worked very well for them in helping most people turn their lives around. They used to use an average of 3.2 hours working with a person before their life would turn around. So it's very successful. It's very oriented towards looking for beyond today. So once we get into the protocol and follow it, you'll find it's not that difficult. It is challenging. Staying with it is probably part of it. So this will be something that you'll find it's not the usual direction we go in, where we go into your mind and try to pry things out. So how are you hoping I might be useful to you today?
Well, I have to think of something because I didn't really come with that in mind.
That's
Okay.
good, and we
So,
catch you off guard.
Yeah, totally. So the thing that I would like to not be anymore, or deal with it differently, is not to be irritable with my mother.
That's a good one. Okay. How is that a problem for you?
I don't like how I feel when I'm with her and I feel irritable, and I don't like her when I'm irritable, and I don't want to feel like that.
Okay. So just jumping ahead a little bit, when you feel that, whose problem is it? Your mother's or yours?
No, it's mine, because she's not doing anything to me. I
Okay.
know that.
Good.
I know it's my problem.
All right, so we're going to jump a couple, well, at least one question here, and I'll go to the next one. So what have you tried so far, and was it helpful?
Sometimes I have spoken up in the moment, and it is helpful when I do that. I usually feel quite frightened when I do it, because that's not normal behavior for me to say anything. But I've decided that part of my recovery is in being honest with the people that I have a relationship with, and we'll have to learn how to navigate through that. Can I give you an example?
Sure.
Okay. We were out the other night, and we were in a restaurant, and it was a pub atmosphere, so it was a bit noisy. There was a group of people beside us, and they were just a little bit loud. And she just gets this horrible look on her face. You can tell how miserable she is about them talking loud. And I said, "Oh, Mom, your face tells it all." And she looked at me, and I said, "Why don't you go over and lay a face on them? Maybe they'll get the message." And she kind of laughed, and it went away. I wasn't irritated anymore. And afterwards, I wasn't sure if I should have said anything, but I just said, your face says it all, and that's just a fact, because you can tell how displeased she is with something. I knew what it was, because she spoke to me about it. So it was helpful to me in that moment, and I kind of relaxed for the rest of the night.
Good.
Yeah. I don't know if I was right or wrong, but she didn't seem to have a problem with me.
Good.
2 minutes later, she said, "Do you want to go to a movie on Tuesday?" So I figure things are all right.
That's good.
Yeah.
So what would be different as a result of our meeting today for you to say that our talking was worthwhile?
What would be different as a result of it?
So based on what you told me you'd like to change.
It would be nice. I would like to get to a place where I didn't even really feel that irritated with her. I don't know if that's possible, but I don't see why not. If I change enough, why not?
Okay, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to ask you something called a miracle question.
Okay.
And the miracle question is, we finish up here today. You go home and finish out your day like you normally would, have your dinner and do whatever you do in the evening to relax, and then you're going to go to bed. Mm-hmm. And during the course of the night, a miracle is going to happen. And this thing about you is going to be changed. Okay? So, like a miracle.
Okay.
Okay, I know you're kind of a Christian woman here, so you'll understand.
I understand miracles.
Okay, good. So, once this is asked, I want you to focus on what would be different when the miracle happens.
Notice that's different. Okay.
Right? What will you notice that's different? What will be the first thing that you notice in the morning that is different about you?
You want me to tell you what I imagine I might notice?
Yes.
I can see that if this was all changed, that I would be much more in my mind. Well, okay, I can be specific. I think I would like her.
Okay, so
I would like to like her.
you would notice that in the morning when you...
Well, if it was a miracle, I wouldn't think about the things that irritate me. I might see something good. That would be a miracle for
Okay.
me.
So the first thing you would notice in the morning, you'd love your mom.
No, not love. No, I didn't say. I said like.
Okay, sorry.
Gotta be specific. I don't know. Well, if I'm going to notice the miracle, I would think if I thought about her, I wouldn't think about her. Oh, I should go see her, or oh, it's been 4 days. I better call her. You know, I wouldn't be putting any pressure on myself. I'd probably just be okay with it.
Okay.
That's my imagination around
Okay.
if she came to mind.
What else would you notice?
What else would I notice? Maybe I'd want to go visit her instead of going because I know it's time and I should go.
Okay, pardon me. So regarding the significant other, so,
As in my husband?
well, no, he's not there.
Okay.
So how about we regard her as the significant other?
Okay.
Because some people might want to do this kind of exercise
Okay.
with their husband.
Okay.
What would it be like if I woke up and I wasn't annoyed at my spouse?
Yeah.
Okay? So who else will notice when this miracle happens?
I have a friend who will notice.
Okay. What will he or she notice that's different about you?
She'll notice how I talk about my mother.
Okay.
Because she says things to me like, man, you got a problem. Or you just need to let go of this. Or man, she's controlling you. All sorts of stuff like that. So she would notice if I said something kindly and nicely about my mom. Hey, you know what, my mom did this, or I noticed this about her and it was a positive thing. She would notice that. She'd probably
Okay.
have a reaction.
What else?
What else? I expect I'd be happier.
Okay, that's good.
And she would notice that.
What will she notice that, or what will she be doing differently as a result of her seeing you do something differently?
Oh. She might ask me what happened.
Okay.
You know,
And what might you tell her?
I would tell her exactly what happened.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, probably not.
Okay. When she does that, what will you do or be different about you? Because she behaves differently towards your behaving differently, because of her behaving differently, how will you be different because of the way she behaves?
Okay, I have to back up here. So she's going to notice that I'm happier.
Yeah?
What will she do differently when I'm happier? Well, she probably won't say anything negative about my mother either, because she knows my mom quite well. So she doesn't have the issues, she doesn't have the emotional issues I have, but she sees them. And she'll sometimes say little things. It doesn't bother her, but she is aware. So what would she probably wouldn't say anything. When she doesn't say that, what will be different for me? It won't feed the negativity at all.
That's good.
More positive atmosphere all around.
Okay. So, moving towards a solution, on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 equals the problem is the worst ever, and 10 equals the miracle you just described, where are you on that scale of 0 to 10 as a result of what we just did?
I would say I'm about a 6.
Where do you think you were before we did this? When we
For
first started
today?
talking about the problem?
Oh, maybe a 5, because it's not a huge thing anymore in my life. Now, if you'd asked me this, 4 or 5 years ago, I'd have been at a 0, because it was one of the worst things I was dealing with. But I've gotten help and I've done a lot of work around this, so it has incrementally improved.
Okay. What tells you that's the number today is 6?
When I got here, it was a 6. Is that what I said?
No, 5.
No, oh, a 6. Okay, because it's kind of there all the time. It's not something that I'm ever free of. So it's kind of always there, but it's not the worst ever. It's not resolved inside of me. In that, I often feel an obligation, and I don't like living in a way. And okay, I have to think about what I want to say. I don't like having relationships, or this relationship that's based on obligation. If I could change and not have that would be a miracle. And I believe it's possible. I just can't necessarily envision it, like what I need to do. I think if I just keep doing what I'm doing, it will get better, but it might not ever be where I'd like it to be. She's 85 now. How many years do I have left to keep practicing? I don't know.
As many as you want.
Well, no. I don't know.
That's good.
Yeah, then there's a number, because it's always there. It's always in my mind.
Okay, so suppose you were to pretend that miracle happened. Like let's pick a day in this coming week or something that you pretended the miracle happened. What would be the first thing that you would do?
I'd probably thank God. If I noticed that happened, I'd thank God that He changed me. And then I'd probably call my mom and go over and visit her, because I wanted to spend time with her.
So, how might this idea be hopeful?
That this could happen?
Yeah.
Oh, well. I hope, it gives me hope that I can actually change in this area, that my feelings will change. My thinking and my feelings will change. My behavior is okay, I know that, because I just do what I'm supposed to do. But I wish I could do it because I want to do it, as opposed to I'm supposed to do it.
Okay. So what's it going to take for a part of that miracle to happen?
I have to change.
So could we pick a day that you could go to bed that night and say, I need this miracle tonight, and wake up in the morning?
I could ask for it. I don't know. I guess I could ask for it.
Do you think what we're talking about is contingent on you, not so much God visiting you and saying, oh, I'm giving you this miracle tonight, Louise? Or how about if you just wake up in the morning and say, this is the day the miracle's going to happen. It's all dependent on what I do.
Gee, I don't know. That's a tough question for me in this area. This is a long-standing burden of mine. I truly can't envision waking up in the morning and think, this is the day I'm no longer like this.
It's not so much a matter of you waking up in the morning and being different. It's a matter of you waking up in the morning and acting as though it were different. By doing these things, you wake up with the attitude, I'm going to do something today. This is how I'm going to be.
See, I don't have a whole lot of trouble with my behavior.
But your thought.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is change your thinking.
Okay. See, maybe I don't know how to do that.
But now you do. We just did this. You thought this was going to be easy, and so did I, but...
I can't see that I changed my thinking.
Okay, you're going to focus on what would be different if the miracle happened.
What would be different? I would be happy.
What would you notice that's different? You would notice.
I would not have negative thoughts about her. I would not feel like, oh, I have to go visit her now. It's been a week. I got to go see her. Yeah.
So is that really a miracle, or is that you pretending that there was a miracle?
Well, if I actually changed, it would be a miracle. If I actually didn't think the same, it would be a miracle.
So you've already told me you can do that. You've already explained to me what would be different.
I'd probably have to, yeah, I'm stuck, truthfully.
That's all right. Just tell me where you're stuck.
I guess I feel like a victim of my thoughts in some level. Maybe I feel like I'm a victim of my thoughts and I feel powerless over them.
And that's all we have to change is our thinking.
Yeah, okay.
We start by changing our thinking,
I get,
and then we do.
yeah, okay. So I guess what I could do differently, I could wake up in the morning and choose positive thoughts about her. Now they'd have to be real. You know, I'd have to think of something, a good quality. I don't focus on that. I know that. I have not bothered to do that. So I could do that. That would help my thoughts change. I know that.
Okay.
If I'd have to practice. That would have to be something I did
That'd be good.
over and over.
Like, it's just the very idea that we have to respond differently today.
Yeah. To my thoughts.
Yeah,
Because-
it's overcoming your thought is
Yeah.
however you do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and okay, I grasp that notion.
She's the first one that's ever made it this complicated over something small. But that's okay, because if she can make this complicated, we can look at this ourselves when we're doing this and say, this isn't easy. This isn't just a fun thing you can run through.
No, it's not.
So even for something small, it takes work on your part. So what's it going to take for that part of that miracle to happen is we have to decide that today I have to become different. And however you can change your thinking. So do you think this is something that could happen?
Yes, if I have some control over it, absolutely.
What makes you think so?
Because I know that my thinking has changed with other things over the years. So if I believe if I wake up in the morning and I make a choice, conscious choice to think differently about her, that it would change me. I know that. I believe that.
That's good. So we have a bit of an alternate ending here, and I'm just going to ask you to switch gears for a moment here. And this is if the person's concrete and detailed in answer. We might say, let's pick a time and a day and force it. But we already did that, where we haven't actually given Louise a date that she has to do this, but we've narrowed it down to a point in time where we want her to narrow it down and say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to wake up next Tuesday or whatever day she's going to wake up, and she's going to say, this is what I'm going to do. So because I know her a little bit, you know, it was easier just to force at the time. Let's just imagine. So, and if you struggle at all, you might want to think about what's happening in your life, and she's already answered that, that convinces you that this problem can be solved. So she's already said, based on her past, and that she has made changes in the past that have been difficult, she could do it again. So look at yourself and say, I have done things. You know, I can get up in the morning and brush my teeth and comb my hair, shower, whatever I need to do, so I know how to live. And this is just part of living. So we kind of try to look for ways, because sometimes we'll look for ways of getting out of things instead of doing them. And you know, if you're going into a major depression or your anxiety is very high one day, you might say, this is too much trouble. You know, we just want to prove to ourselves that we can live the way we're living, but we can go better than that, just by trying to look at ourselves and say, yeah, I don't really want to be like this anymore. I want a different life. And it can start with one small exercise, looking at something like this. If you have a major problem in your life, maybe you want to ease into it. You want to step slowly, so you look for something smaller and go that way. Like, this is a good one sometimes where, you know, I would start with something small working with somebody, and then we just keep building. So you can do this exercise 100 times and just find your way through it. And you work at your own speed, because this is designed to do by yourself. And so that's what we want to do. We want to make it so you can do it by yourself and take on the bigger, stronger, more powerful things that have gone on in your life that you're trying to change. Because, like Louise is saying, she's not going to be able to get her mother to change. You know? If we have a problem with somebody, it's not their problem, it's our problem. We're the ones that have to change. If you don't like to go outside or you don't like to be around people, the world's not going to suddenly become very nice for you and say, oh, come with us, we'll look after you. No, the world doesn't do that. The world is the world, and if we want to fit into the world and have a real life, we have to find a way to do that. Any comments you'd make, Louise?
It's interesting. I mean, I will definitely, this would be a good writing exercise, a good thing to journal with on things that maybe I feel stuck with. There's not a huge number of issues going on at the moment, but there probably will be at some point. Life is life. So, it's interesting.
I like to do this in marital disputes, because at that point we're focusing on somebody's really going to notice.
Yes. Yes.
And a marital dispute is about learning how to negotiate with each other. So if I change, how will he change? And then as a result of him changing, how will I change again? So we start to look for ways that this could go differently than it is. But you know, we start the ball rolling. Like, if you can't change somebody's mind, maybe you can change their mind by modeling for them as to how you can be better.
Yeah.
And then maybe they'll follow. So it's good. It's just got a 100-fold purposes. But I just thought if we could do this together, then you know, you would see some really good things that you might be able to alter or change up in your life the way it's going. So I thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I appreciate you spending this time with me.